I've been dying to talk to you about this, man. I haven't talked to nobody else about it. I haven't even talked about it myself. I've been wanting to talk about it for the last couple months, but I said, you know what? I'm gonna say this for Luke G. What should the Lions do with the 6th overall pick, or who should the Detroit Lions draft 6th overall?
In my opinion, I'm looking at impact, and it's not just right now, but long term too. And so, I don't like the idea of cornerback at 6. I know that everybody is like, oh my God, what do you mean you got to get a corner? You could have had a corner last year. Could have had Sauce Gardner. You took Aiden Hutchinson, all right? So not saying that we're not happy with Aiden Hutchinson, but I don't want to play this game. I've been screaming we needed a cornerback for the last two years. I told people when Okudah came out, he's not worth the top 10 pick, let alone a top 5. And people thought I was joking and I was wrong about it. Well, that aged really well. And so the reality is if I'm sitting up there, I'm telling myself, what can I do that makes the most logical sense and that can be followed? And to me, that's take a quarterback. Now, if the quarterback is not there, let's say take whoever your top 3 quarterbacks are, right? If your top 3 quarterbacks are Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, and Anthony Richards, for whatever good reason you think Anthony Richards is in your top 3, that's your power to the B. If one of those 3 is still on the board and you're at 6, you take them. Well, Luke, that doesn't make sense. Well, yes, it does. Jared Goff has a contract that really has this year and next year left on it. And if you let him go ahead and bounce next year, you get almost $30 million back in cap space. $30 million. You know what you can do with almost $30 million? You can do a lot with that kind of money. But I would take Hendon Hooker at 6. Oh, well, Luke, but he hurt. I don't care. I don't give a care he's hurt. If he wasn't hurt, he would have been one of the top draft picks in this draft. He'd have probably almost been between the 2nd or 3rd quarterback taken off the board anyway, had it not been for his injury. Well, Luke, there are teams who need quarterbacks who can still take him, and he probably won't go into the 2nd round. Yeah, because they're going to think and hope that people skip on him because of that injury. But the reality is this. You don't have to be one of those people. Well, Luke, why we can't get him at 18? Okay. Well, let's play the devil's advocate game. You look at the teams between our pick at 6 and 18, a lot of those people need a quarterback. And if you think we can get them in the 2nd round, well, newsflash, it's not for the faint of heart that the Rams are trying to move on from Stafford to get some relief in their cap space and to get younger at the position. And they pick ahead of you in the 2nd round. And you look at another team, a team that many people may not have thought about, but here's a fun one for you. The Baltimore Ravens. You see, we act as if though that these other teams would just say, forget it. But sometimes teams will look at their situation and say, I don't mind waiting a year. And seeing how he's going to sit anyway, I will take Hendon Hooker. Now, to the Lions fan base and the people who are not Lions fans who think that I have lost my mind, remember, this is the same team who took a hurt receiver with an ACL injury and let him sit. And they had no problems with that. They then went out and spent $10 million for a 1-year deal on DJ Chark, right? And if we can allow a receiver, because I've never, ever heard of a team drafting a receiver high to sit. I've never heard of that. Not until Detroit. All right. And so all I'm saying is if we can do that with a receiver, why not a quarterback? Because guess what? Although, let's say, for example, that he hurt, but he's able to still play. If you look at the Lions right now, there is no backup quarterback. The only quarterback on your roster is Jared Goff. And so I will get my future quarterback. On top of us, not like, to me, I don't expect for the Lions to be picking top 10, top 15 next year. So if you want a quarterback next year, you're trading up and you're probably giving up the majority of your draft capital. I don't want that. Now, let's say, for example, to the people who hate that idea, I offer you option number 2. You really gonna not like this one. I would just draft Bijan Robinson. Oh, come on, Luke. We just took David Montgomery. I love David Montgomery. Yeah, but if you do, I said I love David Montgomery. But we got DeAndre Swift, and DeAndre Swift, who I love, hasn't been healthy. And the Lions have ran 3 running backs before. So my attitude to it is, who gives you the most impact if you're stuck at 6? It's Bijan Robinson. There isn't a cornerback you can take. And many of y'all are gonna say, well, what about this player? I haven't got to that. I'm just walking you through your options. But I would take Bijan Robinson.
let me ask you about this. All right. You have James Houston and Aiden Hutchinson, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Carter, with what's been going on lately, there's a real possibility that Seattle says, you know what, we'll take AR. And the teams ahead of Seattle are kind of mostly looking at QB, Colts, maybe Cardinals probably take Will Anderson most likely. But if Jalen Carter's there at 6, you know, is it
You
worth
draft
taking
him.
the risk?
You draft him. You draft them. You draft them. Don't you blink twice. Don't SOS nothing. Do not pass go and collect $200. You draft them. Your interior of your defense is not strong enough. I love Aleem McNeil, but he needs some help over there by himself. And as much as I like Kaminsky, that's great, but you draft him. If he's there, you take him. Because anything that they want to talk about, oh, he may have some character. Where did these character issues come in at? I didn't hear nothing about no character issues until people tried to figure out how to correlate him to bad media and, or something that he didn't do. Was he racing that night? Sure. Was his car the reason that the other car crashed? Nothing indicates that. Oh, but you know, people thought even making up stories. He was driving drunk. Really? So you mean to tell me he was driving drunk, racing, and made it all the way home drunk? Bypassed every police officer who was looking for him in his car. I got it. Come on now. If he's there, I'm taking him because I need to take the talent. I want the guy that's going to be there. And the reason I didn't go with him at first is because many Lions fans are like, well, he got concerns and he came into the workout. He looked out of shape. Y'all was all willing to take other people who were in that same position. Oh, well, that I heard rumors that he can't play all 3 downs. Neither was Davis when he came up out of there. And all the Lions fans wanted him. We also added, at one point in time, we added Snacks Harrison, who couldn't play all 3 downs, and we were happy about that. I don't need him to play all 3 downs. I need him to wreck shop on 1st and 2nd. And on 3rd and long, we'll put in Kominski. That's what he's there for. That's what he's there for. So I don't need him to do that. I need him to be disruptive. Oh, he came in 9 pounds heavy. I mean, this is going to sound delusional to many people, but since when has it been an issue for your D tackles to be fat? Like, when did that start? When did all of a sudden now a heavy set D tackle seems strange? Everybody's not going to be built like Aaron Donald. What Aaron Donald does is mentality. It's not body, it's mentality. And so, much like how John Randall was, that, it was a mentality with him. So, no, I don't want to hear that. My first option is if Jalen Carter's there, I'm taking him. Now realistically, my biggest first option is trade down. But I always like to live in the reality. What if I can't trade the pick? And if I can't trade the pick, I'm taking Jalen Carter if he's there. And if Jalen Carter's not there, I'm going quarterback. And if quarterback is that I want is not there, I'm going Bijan Robinson. Why? Because guess what? The deal that you gave David Montgomery allows for him to still be there in the capacity to be a tandem. And that means that Swift deal is getting ready to end, and you'll still have 2 dog running backs to wreak havoc on people. I can live with that.